Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Hope you're all having a good one. Danny and I are here.
That's it, though.
We're
That's it.
here. Yeah, we're here. That's right. I'm sure others listening probably feel the same way. I made it to another day because
Yep.
it's definitely, I feel like it's at that point, like we're coming in to the fourth month of the year, and it's just like, ugh.
hmm
Quarter one is over. On quarter two.
Right. Yeah. It's just done with quarter one. Although it's still quarter one here in Wisconsin because we got 6 inches of snow last night.
Yeah, I don't like your quarter one.
On April 1st. And what is funny too is they told me, one of the local guys said, well, yeah, we've had, over, I think he said over 16 inches of snow in the last week of April before. And I'm like, what? I mean, I'm sure it could snow a little bit, but I mean, like snow, 16 inches, that's a lot. And he's like, yeah, just be ready for it. Because I was ready to put my shovels away, put my snowblower. I ran the
There it
gas
is.
out of my snowblower. I ran the gas out of my snowblower.
It's your
That's what did it.
fault. It's your fault.
I didn't put it away. I just ran it empty just to have it.
You made the insinuation to the snow gods that you thought that it was done, and they were like, "Here, hold my coffee and my beer." Like, let's go. I will say though, I think maybe in some ways I might rather take the snow over tornadoes, which is what I have had happening down here. Three of them touched down only about 45 minutes north of me, so
Mm,
that's a little bit closer to comfort than I'd like. And
yeah.
it's awful to see the devastation that those can cause, and they're calling for more. So, I guess when the weather goes from 44 degrees in the morning when you're waking up taking your kids to school to 80 degrees when you're picking them up, yeah,
Yeah.
that'll definitely cause some issues. So that's what we're on heightened alert at this point, which it's supposed to be nice throughout the day. So it's one of those deals where it's like, I'm only threatening you. I'm not doing anything. Like one of those kids.
I'm not
And then
touching you.
yeah, and then you turn your back, and the next thing you know, they turn into the Tasmanian devil, and that playroom is wrecked. And so I'm hoping that's not the case once the sun goes down, but that's what they're calling for tonight. So we'll
Mm,
see. Yeah.
we're just getting rain today. It's going to be 45, so snow is going to start melting, and it's only raining this morning. It was cool. And I recognize that no matter how many times we talked about this before, no matter how many times I tell my 12-year-old you need to wear a coat, he's just going to take his soft, comfy, fluffy jacket, which has no water resistance at all. It's basically like a big sweater or something, and not a good wool sweater. I mean, just like just comfy, but you might as well be wearing a sweatshirt, man.
I
And
like
he's
my
just like, I'll be
sponge
okay.
sweater.
Right.
Sponge
I'm like,
sweater.
if it gets soaked, you're not even going to be able to hold it up. It's going to be so heavy. But yeah,
You just
what do
bring
I
him in
know?
the garage and
Again,
just roll
yeah,
him,
just roll them out.
squeeze all the water out of
You'll
the
be
coat.
fine.
Oh, yes, children and what they decide to wear versus what you tell them to wear is, I
Hmm.
feel like a constant battle in every household.
It
I
just keeps coming back. You
Yeah,
know.
every time I go to school and it's like it's cold out, I'm like, I'm kind of bundled up, and then you just see all these kids jump out and they're wearing shorts and whatnot. You're just like, what? Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
sure.
We were um, we were waiting this morning because they have student council today, and both my younger kids are on student council, and you like one I drop Marcus off at 7:45, but you can't start student council until 8, right? So there's that 15-minute window where Liz and I just sit in the car. We ran and got a hash brown actually because just for the fun of it because we had 15 minutes. So we're back and forth, and when we come back and we still have 10 minutes, there's a little kid standing on the sidewalk, and he's wearing like a tracksuit and a baseball cap in the rain. And I mean, it is raining, raining. And he's just standing there looking around. And I'm like, is that one of the student council kids? And Lizzie's like, yeah. Like, you want to ride over and see if he wants to get in the car with us? Because it's raining pretty hard. And she said, no. I'm like, what? What? Why not? And she goes, I I don't know, Dad. It's embarrassing. And can we just not? I'm like,
He voted against me on the last levy.
yeah. Yeah, but he stands there and it's really, really cool because he stands there, another 5 minutes, looks at his watch. I'm like, all right, kids with watches, let's go. And then he nods to himself, turns around and walks towards the school and goes inside. And it's like 5 minutes before or whatever. And I'm like, that kid is self regulating. This kid has got it going. His parents should be proud of him.
There's no awnings in front of the school that he could
There
stood under.
is, yes, by the door, there's like
Oh
an
my
8 foot
gosh.
depth, it's not an awning, but it's part of the building is above it. I'm like, okay,
The school's got
okay.
a force field, right? Out to the
It
sidewalk.
must.
That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
you don't want to seem too eager. Like, I really want to get in the school. Or honestly, I think a part of it is a, 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 a learned need to suffer in the weather.
Oh,
It
is that what
really,
it is?
I think that's might be what it is. Just that no, it'll bother me.
I don't want
It's
to be known
fine,
as the janitor's friend. He's not letting
right?
me
Yeah,
in.
yeah, that one, yeah.
Oh
But it
my
was very
gosh.
funny to see this kid, and I'm like, that's very Wisconsin to me. That's
Hmm.
very my kid will be there. He'll be fine. I've given them everything they need to succeed, and it'll toughen them up. And
Maybe he's got a
I
change of clothes in his locker.
maybe, yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? He's got
He
a
was
whole
wearing
Mr. Rogers type of thing set up.
my sneakers.
Mr. Rogers' wet neighborhood.
Yep. Yeah, it was just I'm like, okay, I
Oh
wouldn't
my
do that.
goodness.
I don't know. Maybe I am too soft on my kids, but
And the funny
honestly,
part is that if you ask that kid too, he's probably got a very like logical answer of his own, and you're just like, I mean, that
completely
doesn't
different.
make any sense to me as an adult, but to you, like you have figured out how to justify being out in this nasty weather.
Standing in the rain.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that, gotta love kids. That's
It's amazing. And again, the difference between no one has to tell me you should put a coat on, or you should take your raincoat or umbrella. I've learned this. I know when I need it, and I think that's just maybe that kids haven't done that yet. They haven't been soaked to the bone and with no umbrella, and like this coat would have kept this all from happening. Oh, I don't know where the pivot is where they finally figure it out.
it's when they would listen to the song "I Love Pina Coladas" and getting caught in the rain. That's where I think that's like that for whatever
Nice,
reason. Maybe that's the switch for most people. Oh, okay.
nice reference. Old,
Hey,
but
old
nice,
reference, but it
but
works.
nice.
It works regardless. So,
Yeah,
um,
it
yeah,
checks
man,
out.
that's yeah. So fun times with kids in the weather definitely is always, I think, part of just the day-to-day parent stuff. Um, Speaking of other things like that too, you had mentioned that a certain individual on our Facebook private group posted a very interesting topic last night,
Hmm.
which I like this topic because I think it happens that it comes up a lot of times on Discord or in even in the dad lounge from time to time, just talking about what your favorite parts of HomeDadCon are, especially like your favorite like presentations, like breakouts and that kind of thing. And
Hmm.
Charlie O'Hara points out that they were working on their finances last night, and just the fact that we've had uh, a breakout session about that, and to be able to use that
Right,
information to bring it into actual tangible life event to hopefully make things go smoothly with finances. Finance is always a very can be a very triggering
Hmm.
conversation.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's really cool that he brought that up as like a discussion point because he asked basically the question of like what's your favorite breakout
Hmm.
session or presentation or whatever from HomeDadCon. And I agree with you. What you were saying is like it's really hard to pick or even remember all of them too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because someone mentions, "Oh, you remember that?" Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that. But you use the knowledge, you just kind of put it into your life and like, okay, this is how we do things now. But don't necessarily remember that it was that breakout that you learned it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think for me, like I've the one that I enjoy and I think I'll enjoy further going forward is just like the How to Grow a Dad's group has always been a
Hmm.
favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Um, Partially because it the first time I ever presented at a conference was the first Home Dad Con I went to, and it was wild to present on that because I had just started my dad's group like the year before, but it took off and with
Hmm.
such fervency that a lot of guys were seeing what was going on, and it's been great being able to talk to guys about it. And now being at this point in my juncture, I'm coming into my like eighth year of running the group, and I'm now helping the new leadership of the city dads, like with being a liaison between the leaders there. So that's it. It
Hmm.
this kind of adds to what I like to do, which is of course talking to people about fatherhood. So
Hmm. Now you're a
yeah,
district supervisor,
is that what it
district
is?
manager. I don't know
District
what you call
Nine.
it. District manager, District
District
9.
Man, District 9.
Yeah.
I will attribute.
Yep.
Oh goodness, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like you've been going to Home Dad Con before me, so you've gotten to see
Hmm.
quite a few of them. The ones that I didn't even get to go to. Do you have like a top three favorites that you
Well,
can
well, and I
out
put
or?
this on our Facebook page because the one that really hit me, and I don't know why it was just so formative for me, but I had I don't remember what year it is now, but I had I think just three kids at the time, and was really still even then trying to own this job and trying to really just step in it completely, and live it, I guess. And Matt Strain, who, as we all know, used to be a chef, and if you don't know that, he will mention it. Um, it's a joke, but he came in and said, how basically what to cook, how to do a little bit more bulk cooking and other things. And he says we just buy two chickens and we put down in a pan of vegetables, whatever vegetables you want, and then put the chicken in some seasoning, the chicken directly on top of it, fill it with aromatics and a few other little things, and put it in the oven and cook two chickens at once. And I don't know why that was so pivotal for me. I mean, it's not some huge leap in logic or intelligence, or it's not like the revelation of the world, but I'm like, oh, yeah, because I can fit two. I'm going to cook two, and then when I have the extra, I can use that the next day for like chicken salad sandwiches, or
Yeah,
or put it in soup, or and it was just, and then of course the bones, since they've been roasted, take them and make a broth or a stock out of them, and it just changed the way that I cooked from that point forward.
yeah,
It really just was a takeoff point for me, and it's such a small thing. And I know there are people that are listening, like, well, duh, why is that? But again, it's your personal experience and what you got out of Home Dad Con. And I think that's very important to recognize because there's things that I've been to that I got nothing out of. I mean, I
yeah,
enjoyed it, but I'm like, no, I didn't really learn anything. I kind of knew all this stuff, but I really am glad they presented it. Whereas another person probably had that aha moment, and they're like, why? Oh, how did I not think of that? Or why did I not know that? So for me, I think that was like the number one that I thought of immediately. What about you?
I I think one of the ones that I really appreciated was Cincinnati. We brought in Emma Schmidt and her team to talk about just like sex therapy and all that stuff. And Emma's a
Hmm.
good friend of mine from college, and I was really happy that her and her team were able to come in. And
Yeah.
I think it opened up a door just within the community of dads in general to give space a safe space to have conversations about
Hmm.
what's going on in their sex lives. And Discord, I remember one of the guys coming up to me afterwards, like we had just launched Discord, and I remember one of the guys coming up to me and being like, "Can we get a channel to just talk about like sex life, like that kind of thing?" And I think we ended up naming it like the ups and downs of sex life or
Hmm.
something like that. And it's been a great space for the guys to be able to get on and just share what's going on, the good and the bad. And um, I think too, it made just a nice introduction into a different type of counseling that maybe some people might find to be very scary
Hmm.
to talk about.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, but for her to be able to introduce it and give give light to the importance of it, and then also too like just some great resources that to me I think was just super beneficial,
Absolutely.
not only for me like in conversations with my wife, but so many other guys that you could tell were just ready to have the conversation, ready to ask questions. And it was very interactive, very conversational. It was just a good breakout, like really well done.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that subject.
Yeah.
And I think it, like you said, it's something people don't recognize. We're taught that we have to present this front, that if I am having good sex and I am good at sex and it's just, wonderful. And it's a lot of times it's not. A lot of
Right.
times you're, especially when you're young. I mean, nobody teaches you how to do these things well, and nobody teaches you how to express your desire for it. And that's a big part of it. And then getting on the same page of intimacy with your partner, another huge part of it. And there's just so many like complex layers of it that
Yeah.
a lot of times I think we just go, "Psh, I don't know, something's wrong," and that's it. But I feel like again, therapy to me is the same as going to a doctor of any kind. If I bust my hand again, I swear if I bust my hand again, I'm gonna be so mad. But if I bust my hand again somehow, because I'm getting clumsy in my old age, I guess, I'm not going to try to fix that myself. If it's broken, that is, I'm going to go and I'm going to get a doctor. Like, 'cause I don't know how to do this. And honestly, even if I could, like I have to reset that bone or whatever and then wrap, no, that is not something you should do by yourself. And I think it's the same thing with therapy. And
Hmm.
talking to I don't know, would it be a sex therapist? I think would be
Yep.
the word. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Talking to a sex therapist shouldn't be embarrassing. I mean, for me, I've never done it, but like I have read every book that I could find about having good sex and building intimacy, and I have no problem admitting that or saying that because yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I in a lot of ways may still not know what I'm doing, but you have to learn somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to look and to have a professional in a room, especially in a room like we usually have in our breakouts, where it is a group of men that trust each other and they're okay being vulnerable. They're okay saying, yeah, all right, I'm struggling with this, whatever that might be,
Yeah.
is amazing. And I think that's a breakout that we should repeat.
Yeah. I
Hint, hint,
definitely
wink,
like.
wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot too because one that like I said that we said that it was very positive. I think too like there are just a lot of marriages that and could use could use it as well. I think for me like just some of the things that I've gotten involved with here in the past year, I've really seen like a conversation. I've asked more guys, uh, probably in the past year, like, what's your sex life like? When was the last time when was the last time you had a like sexual encounter with your wife,
Hmm.
with your partner kind of deal?
Yeah.
And what did that look like? Or why didn't you? And I
Hmm.
think sometimes people, depending on who the person is, almost can be like, whoa, like no one's ever asked me that before, or something along those lines. And so,
Hmm.
and also too, like talking to people about the fact that like, if you're in a relationship and it's like just like there's nothing going on there like sexually, or you're struggling through that, like, you know, continuing to just let that dwindle basically
Right.
is not helping your situation at all. But at the same time too, like there's some finesse and there's some serious conversation that goes into
Hmm.
how to have that without having, if you're the person who's like, hey, we need to change, and the other person's like, I'm cool where we're at, and it's like, well, why are you cool where it's at? And just starting a
Right.
conversation about that
Yes.
stuff like that. Definitely, because that is one of the things like Corey and I have spent a lot of time over the past few years, just like diving into what does that conversation look like, and also too like
Hmm.
coming to the point of like, all right, where I was 20 years ago when I met you and where we are now,
Right.
lots changed,
Right.
and kids have gotten in the way, and or just caused for hurdles to happen, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so trying to figure all that out. And that's the thing too, like I think that there's just a very obscure view about, well, what does our relationship look like after we
Hmm.
have kids? And you know, you,
Right.
you, you hear some very wild, uh, just this is what I think we should be doing or whatever. And it's like, you get people who are like, well, I haven't gone on a date with my partner since we had kids. And you're
Yeah.
just like, whoa. Or we haven't had any sexual contact with each other at all. Or, it's
And
like,
yeah.
and it's like you don't want to talk about that? Like
Yeah.
for me, like I find that to be scary, and like I'm concerned about your relationship if that's where
Hmm.
you are, because
Yeah.
there's things to be talked about. So yeah, that definitely is a big was a big topic breakout that definitely would be a good one to bring back
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And I think I don't think that anyone should expect sex in a relationship. Like,
No, no, no,
you know,
no.
it's not,
Yeah,
but
no.
it reasonably, I think it's a need we all have, I think. And it's a very, very, there are people who do not like it, do not want it, and that's how they live. And like you said, we change, and who we were and who we are and what we want, that changes, and having that open conversation. And like I was thinking of it when you said it, even 5 years ago, I couldn't imagine being too tired to have sex. I couldn't. There was never a time when I was too tired. Like, okay, it may not be the best in the world, but we're going to do this. I have been sick and like with a flu and a fever. I'm like, the best thing right now is if we could just have sex and then I go to sleep. And Marnie's like, this will kill you. I'm like, I guarantee you it will not. It will not. It may help me sleep, but I will be great. And like you said, with all the kids and just all the things and all the pressures and everything else, and it's been like maybe twice, which doesn't seem like a lot. I shouldn't say this like I'm bragging, but for our relationship, for either one of us to say that was just surprising. It made sense.
Yeah,
It's like I'm just too tired. Can we get back together in the morning, or something like that. And we both understood, but again, it was the communication that was the best part of it.
yep,
That I could tell my wife, yeah, I'm too tired, and I don't feel like I'm less of a man because I would have, I don't know, earlier in my life. Oh, you're too tired. She wants to have sex and you're too tired. What? You're not a man anymore. It would just really hit me.
yeah,
But that's not true. And for me to be able to say that was pretty vulnerable to Marnie, and Marnie understands. She's willing to wait, which is good. But just that understanding that we're not who we were. You know.
yeah,
But then if you do establish that you both want it and need it, then communication again. Okay, I do. I love you. I still find you amazingly sexy, but I need to go to bed. I can't do it. It won't hurt them. They'll
yep.
understand. And I think communication again comes down to like the key of everything we do in marriage
Well,
or any
also
relationship.
to kind of go off of the communication side of it, like I think a tip that I would just give before we move on a little bit
Hmm.
out of this to the next thing is, um, there are times, especially in the fashion of our spouses who are, the breadwinners going out and to to flip a switch and to turn their brain off from what's going on. Or,
Yeah.
even if you're like, hey, go kids out into the living room and watch a cartoon, you know, me and mama here are gonna have a conversation in the in the bedroom.
Yep.
You still have to, it still can be difficult. And one thing that I've come to learn is that sometimes you have to create a scenario um, that mentally is stimulating to your spouse, to
Hmm.
get them to think about something else. And so like a kind of a role playing situation. You don't have to change like your name or anything like that, but like
Hmm.
just setting up a scenario that works, to be able to get them out of what they're in currently. And that's one of the things that we've found actually works really well. And
Hmm.
luckily, I can create different little storylines, I guess, or whatever out of it.
Yeah.
And it works really well. So if that's something that works for for whoever's listening, I think that that's
Right.
a good if especially if they're a book reader. they're,
Yes.
if they're reading any of the they're reading any of the girly talk book stuff right now.
Smut. It is
Take some.
smut. That's what it is. I cannot believe it. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
But taking a scenario of some sort out of what they're reading and bringing
Hmm.
it to life,
Hmm.
like in some sort of small way, is definitely a huge key to that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So
And I think being secure enough in yourself and in your relationship that if your partner tells you, I was reading this book about whoever, God, they're so hot. And to say, okay, well, I mean, are they hot enough that we want to fantasize about that? Because if you're hot, I'm good. I don't care why, personally.
or the
Yeah,
scene was
if
hot,
you, yeah,
maybe.
right, yeah, the scene, whatever it was, then we can do that, but not getting embarrassed, not getting jealous, which is a big part of it, I think, of a lot of times.
Right.
But just being able to say, okay, if that's what builds up steam for you, then let's do it. But yeah, we could talk about sex the whole show. I love talking
We
about
we
it,
could
just so
do
you know.
that. Yeah.
I do want to say one thing that I have always thought. Men basically have one main erogenous zone, right? I mean, pretty much. There's periphery stuff, but it's pretty much just the one.
Yeah.
And I think we all know who that is, and we've given him a name, and he makes a lot of our decisions, and that's fine. Um, but I always just say women have actually two, and it's their brain and
Yep.
then their entire body. And it's based on an idea, and I can't remember the name of the book right now, but that intimacy is a full-time thing. You're always building intimacy with your partner, whether it's, if you're you're walking somewhere and you hold the door for them and you put your hand on the base of their back or whatever, or you'll just lean over and hold their hand while you're driving or something, and it's those moments of contact that build up that greater framework of a relationship so that this person
Yep.
understands it's not just sex.
Yeah.
Sex is
You got to get
great.
that 20
It's
second hug
just
in there. The
right.
20-second hug, man. If you don't know what the 20-second hug is, like trust me, just the next time you see your spouse, like just give them a hug and just hold them for 20 seconds
Hmm.
giving them a hug, because
That's
it will change. It is a it can be life changing in
yeah.
lots of ways. So,
Yeah, and it's building that understanding that I love you and I desire you and I want you even if we're not in the bedroom. You
yeah.
know, Even we're and anybody that's ever gotten a hug from me, this isn't sexual, but it is an intimacy thing because I tell
Yeah.
people I'll let go when you do. And that kind of hug, I think, is something that we all need, and building on it that's, just 20 seconds. How much is that? It's nothing. But if you imagine how long you usually take hugging your wife, hey, baby, hey, squeeze, and then you go, give it 19 more seconds
Yeah,
and see where
right.
you're at. So
Exactly. Yeah, so
anyway,
that's a big topic there for sure as far as,
yep,
one of the
we
big
should
ones there.
bring that back around. I think we should talk about that later.
Yeah, definitely get that in for the next one probably.
Hmm.
So I don't know where things are currently for this one, but I imagine that they're probably pretty well set at this point.
They're pretty full. Yep.
Yep. So that's all good though. I would
Second breakout.
say another breakout that let's see, another one I think that was really just it gave a lot of vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
was the breakout on miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was in Minneapolis, if I'm not mistaken. And I just remember so many guys showing up and sitting down, and after being there for a few minutes, them looking around and seeing all the other guys who had
Yeah.
come into that room. And
Mm-hmm.
we just basically kind of circled up to share what was going on. And it was just such a powerful uh, time. And I think it just gave an avenue to be able to say things that you've been just holding in
Yeah.
after an experience like that.
Yeah.
Because dad's not supposed to have those kind of feelings and
Mm-hmm.
experience. It's like, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yep. Yep.
We,
Yeah, it is.
and so to be able to say, hey, you got something you need to say, you need to get off your chest, like, this is a space to do it
This
in.
is
And it
it.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter like how shocking it is or whatever. Like, no judgment here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yeah. And something we're never taught how to deal with. We're never taught how to deal with that at all.
Yeah.
And so many people are like, oh, it's a miscarriage. Yeah, it's fine. No, there's nothing. I mean, I'm still, we had one a long time ago, and I don't mark it every year. I don't, memorialize it or make it an anniversary or something, but I know it happened. And that child basically that we were developing a relationship with, and it was awful,
Yeah.
it's just, and again, I had no idea what to do. I'm fine with just bawling my eyes out or getting angry and punching something, if I'm at that emotional state because I'd lost a child,
Yeah.
but no idea what was the right thing to do. So I love that we have that, and we've had it since too. We've had it again in, was it St. Louis, Cincinnati? I don't know, but we've had it an additional time. Jeremy Haston did it.
Oh yeah, that was out in Arizona,
Uh,
I think.
was it Phoenix? Okay.
I think it was Phoenix. Yeah.
Think it. I don't know. I thought, well, it doesn't matter. We've had it and we've had it again. And again, that's something that we will probably continue to go back to. Now, I think my second favorite, and this is probably my top, but I didn't put it on the Facebook post, and I don't really want to talk about it right now because I feel like I'm a broken record, that I'm just always talking about mental health and how important it is to me and how beneficial it is. But going to the in-person support group at the convention, and it was 2015, I think. It was in
Yeah.
Raleigh. And sitting in a room for the first time in my life with a big group of men and looking around the room and thinking, there's no reason that person can be in here. This person's life is fantastic. I've seen their Facebook, or this person can't possibly have any trouble. They're one of the pillars of the organization. There's no way. There's no, why would they be here? But every single person in the first, I think there was 30, maybe. There was a lot of people in that room, and led by Lauren Jaffe. And Lauren is my hero because he did stand in front of that entire room and be as vulnerable as you can possibly be, and then keep moving and not be weak. He's very, very strong for it. And that really touched me. And that's why we have them still. And it's just so important. And I think what a lot of people don't really understand about the support groups too, especially our weeklies, sometimes you're just on there to talk about the stuff that's stressing you. It could be your kid, it could be your partner, it could be, how the work's going around the house or whatever. But it's just kind of just an opportunity to talk to people who understand and go, well, this freaking happens. And my kid won't put his coat on. What the heck? That just bothers me so much. So it's not necessarily a, mental illness support group, but it's just your kind of emotional stress of the day and how these things hit you. And I think it's just very valuable. And I think we've talked about it 1,000 times. So I'm
Yep.
going to end it because I think everybody could have guessed that was my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I saw in here where somebody, along with that same line, out in Arizona, there, I forget who led this one exactly, but the relaxation and meditation
Yeah.
was another big one. And I think they even said too, like, it was interesting walking into a room full of guys, who were just actively seeking a way to shut down and relax for a moment. And
Hmm.
like, I know that one was a big draw. And I know that
Yeah.
we have like the sort of end of the day meditation for, just being able to kind of take a moment after everything for the day. So that I would agree. I did not go to that one,
Hmm.
but I definitely heard lots of good things from folks on that. So I think for me too, the other one of my other ones that is just fun to do is Joe Saladino's photo walks.
Yeah.
There's so much information that you get out of that, and then also too, like just the opportunity to just kind of get a chance to walk around with other people who are trying to figure out how to capture that really cool photo or whatnot.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and that to me is just a way to not only enjoy photography, but also is another way for, just mental health to be like, oh, I can just, go out and do this. Like, I
Hmm.
know for me, like a lot of times I'll just be out walking, my property and can snap photos of flowers and things like that and send them to my wife and try to, show her some encouragement throughout the day, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Cause I know she likes to see when the different flowers pop up in the yard. And since
Hmm.
she's not home all day, sometimes she doesn't get to see them for maybe even
Right.
a couple days. So, yeah, so that's another one that I really enjoy because I've been able to take some really fun pictures and be able to share those with people.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's amazing how much skill you pick up
Yeah.
just being around these guys that just do it so naturally. It's just like, oh, yeah, that's why Joe's a professional. Because wow, how did he even see that? Much less, capture that image. So, um, I did want to say before we move on, the meditation was run by Derek Tetlow, and Derek, no, not yeah, Derek Tetlow, and he
Yep.
just, sorry, my brain stopped for a minute. He just offered to do it. It wasn't a breakout the first year. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna just let you guys know. I think it's very important. I'm gonna do it after the session. Just have 10 minutes to just relax. And then the next year it was a breakout. And I'm hoping every year it's a breakout because it is so important. And I just want to make sure we mention his name. Um,
Yeah.
and
Sorry, I couldn't
Derek,
remember who it was.
right? Yeah. And Derek, if you hear this, I want you to know that only name I could think of was Mark Longbreak, who is Derek's best friend or one of his
Oh.
very good friends that he met at the convention. And they just immediately bonded and they talk all the time from what I understand of the relationship. And I'm like, well, it's not Mark. What am I doing? I know it's not Mark, but I couldn't think of it. I had to actually go on our Facebook page and look up Mark and then see what real. Oh yeah, yeah, it's Derek. Okay, I got it.
That's
But yeah,
funny.
and Derek, we sincerely appreciate that. Sorry to derail it, but I want to make sure we mentioned his
No,
name.
you're okay. But yeah, I mean, I think that there have been so many good breakout sessions and presentations over the years. Like
Right.
we could continue naming things off, for the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
day. But I think the main key to it is that, a lot of times when you mention, oh yeah, HomeDadCon, oh, what
Yeah.
is that? And then you just start explaining it and they still don't quite get it. You're like, well, it's professional building for fatherhood. Like,
Yeah.
and we have all these presenters that come in. I People hear that, but it's really not until they come and experience it
Mm-hmm.
that you catch on to it. I will say that um I've gotten better at explaining some of the different breakouts and things that go
Mm-hmm.
on. So I think that helps. I would say that that's probably a large reason why one of the dads in my dad's group signed up. He's not even an at-home dad. He
Nice.
just wants to be a better dad, and he's
Yeah.
a young dad. Like his kid's like 3 years old, and so he's trying to figure it all out. And um, I came back from St. Louis and talked about all the different things that were going on and really just the building of community with dads along with that. And I know that that part alone, he's really done a great job of uh, kind of connecting with the local dads here in Cincinnati. And so that's been really cool. And so it's going to be exciting to see, him going there, and I think there's a lot of dads like that that just they're like, all
Mhm.
right, like this is my first time, I'm jumping in, like let's see what happens. And there, I met some guys last year that were like that, like I've never been here before, and just be like, wow,
Yeah.
this is really cool. And
Yeah.
that's I think one of the unique, really cool parts about our conference compared to some of the other conferences that are out there. Like it just has its own just community building and versus like, hey, like just come and listen to the speaker and then go about your day. Like we've built something very special and
Yeah.
or not we as in us, but like the
The
organization.
network. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the network has built
It's
something very
community.
special. Yeah.
It's just
So
community you can't find anywhere else.
yeah, I
And
know. I talk to stay-at-home moms all the time. They're like, "You what? That's wild. I couldn't even like, yeah,
right.
I've got my group of moms here locally. I couldn't even imagine like on a
Hmm.
national level." And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Like when I can reach out to guys in Alaska, California, Illinois,
Hmm.
and Florida and New York all in one night and have
Hmm.
a conversation with them, like that's
Right.
special.
It's incredible. It really is. It's just so astounding. The community we have is I I can't say enough about it. I can't. It's just amazing to me, and I love that I get to be a part of it. You know, and like you said, it's professional development.
Yeah.
And Paul Gordon said it at the retreat. He said, "Well, one of the things we need to understand is we're the professional parents. We're the professional dads at this point. And like technically, I guess we don't get paid for it, but we do get room and board and everything else that goes with it. But the understanding that in other dad groups, when we're hanging out with other fathers that aren't able to be as involved as we are, they will have questions that they can't ask anywhere else. You know, um, I can't think of anything necessarily, but like, how do I change a diaper? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew because I'd been babysitting, through my life and whatever, and I knew how to change a diaper. It wasn't a problem. I wasn't ready for that first diaper, the mycosium, I think it was called, the tar that comes out of your baby. The
Marconium.
very, yeah, the very first one, I'm like, what? This is not
Yeah.
natural. But after that, it was just poop, and I'm good with poop. I
Where
can
did this
handle it.
tar baby come from?
Right?
Oh.
What is this child doing?
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the nurse was there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but just the understanding that there's things that we're not taught and we don't know where we can ask it. And I feel like that's something we can offer, like fatherhood in general, like the big
Yeah.
banner of global men who want to be better dads. And that's something really that we're the professionals. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that every one of our listeners who is part of this community should lean into,
Well,
you know?
I heard somebody talking about this. I don't remember where it was recently. Probably TikTok, who knows? But they were talking about um, if you're the breadwinner and your partner is a stay-at-home parent, like they asked the question, they're like, do you have an insurance policy for them? Do you have a 401k or like a
Oh,
Roth IRA for them or something?
yeah.
Because we talk all the time about, hey, like, if you're going to get back into the workforce, building up a resume. But like one of the things I remember when we decided for me to stay home, Corey went out and I think she basically got like $1 million insurance policy on me because she was like, if you were to die suddenly, like there's no way
Yeah.
I could do the things that you do. And so being able to have that was peace of mind for her. And then also
Hmm.
too, like I mean, I had a 401k from my previous job and I rolled that into like a Roth IRA so that I could continue with it. But instead of it just sitting there stagnant and not having anything into it, she was like, I'm gonna make sure that like $35 of each one of my checks like goes into there. So like each time she gets paid, $35 is going in there and then it can be
Nice.
invested in different ways. And so there's a buildup of that. It's not just
Hmm.
I'm not just leaning on her 401k, what she's got going on with work, but she's also doing this because she sees that, hey, like you're providing this service for our family and we need to make sure that we're financially backing that as well.
Hmm.
And I think that that's something that's important for uh, families in our situation where you're leaning on one income or maybe even two. I mean, the fact that I have a job as well, like it basically is sort of a nice, like, pays bills kind of thing. But the thing with it is just the idea that, just because you're at home and that kind of like, don't forget the fact that there's a future after these kids are gone,
Yeah.
and that also too, like, you know you and your spouse need to have a game plan set. Don't think after the fact that the kids are gone that then you got to do that, because you are going to be so far behind the, not even just the eight ball, but the building,
Yeah.
to do anything about it. And that's been a big conversation piece, that I've also been having lately with a lot of people, is just that, like, hey, like, what's your financial strategy for this? Not that I have any background in it at all, but just from personal experience,
Hmm.
like, what are you doing about this? Do you have anything? And then a lot of times you're like, oh, and then no, I don't have anything. And it's like, okay, like, you're doing a disservice to your family to not have anything there.
Yeah.
That's just, you're putting yourself in a really scary situation, to be honest. And
Hmm.
and we've seen that with some families in the past. I don't know what their financial situations are or anything, but I know there are families that are going through some very serious situations where it's like, I hope that they have things in order and, are able to take care of themselves. But, really in the end, like, we can only take care of our own families. So,
Right.
and just have the hope for the best for the rest of them. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so that's one of the things that I try to tell people. Just, you know
Yeah.
look outside of the box on how what you think a financial situation looks like with your
Hmm.
family.
And for some people, and I think probably the majority, this is a temporary gig.
Yeah.
They're going to do it until their kids get in school, and then they're going to go back. And more power to you if that's, where you're going. Personally, I'm as busy now with the kids in school as I was when they were at home because I have all the extra. I mean, every single night except for Friday, because I keep Friday for family night. Every night there's something going on, and I'm like, I need a break. I don't need every single night everything, but there's a kid going somewhere doing something, and wanting to do more things. Who's going to get them there? Who's going to get them back? Who's going to get their uniforms, their fees, or whatever? For our household, I'm here, and I'll retire from this, because I'm
Yeah.
56 already, so I can see retirement, quote unquote, retirement age out there, and yeah, I won't ever have another job, but that is a very, very privileged thing, a very fortunate thing in a way, and something that Marnie and I have sacrificed for
Yeah.
over the last 20 years to build this life to where we can handle it. And I'm going to ask her what my insurance policy is. And if it's not $1 million, I'm going to say, okay, look, Brock's got $1 million. I'm just, I mean, am I not worth $1 million? We have twice as many kids, Marnie. What's going on? No,
I should be worth $2 million.
right? Come on. What's going on? Why would you do this to me? I know she has that all that taken care of though. That is why she handles the bills because seriously, she's thought of all these things.
Yeah.
She's been putting money in, 401(k) or whatever she's got forever, even as a cop, you know.
Yeah, and
And
we had to split that up into two separate things, by the way. Like, she has a life insurance plan through her work for me,
yeah,
and then we went through who we do our home and auto with for me to get the other half of my life insurance policy. So, yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, it's not all in one place, because that's, that there's not a lot of companies that do something along those lines. So you kind of got to get a little creative with it, but yeah, definitely it's a
hmm,
necessity of thought for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Man, another good episode there.
hmm,
We've got some guests, I think, lined up at some point, or we're going to have to get some guests lined up here at some
yep.
point. I know uh, Corey's wanting to come on and give us update on things with perimenopause.
Do
Uh,
I need to send her the Calendly link, or can you just tell
Probably
her, come on?
no. You gotta make it official, Danny. She wants
All
to hear
right.
from you.
All
She
right.
don't care about me. She sees me every day. Are you kidding? But yeah, like that's a big one. I think we'll definitely start getting in our HomeDadCon speakers at this point.
Hmm.
Get that rolling as well, and see where things go from there.
Yep.
Also, hopefully, we'll get the new head of City Dads group in here as well. Talk to him and see kind of what is going on with that as well.
Hmm.
Because there is some things happening there if nobody knew.
There, yeah, and I'm waiting until we can announce everything because I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about,
Yeah,
all of it. But
it's getting there. He's getting ducks lined up in a row. I've been helping him with it, so we're
hmm
close. So we'll get that lined up here as well. But other than that, man, I hope that it starts warming up for you. The white stuff melts away and it starts getting nice for you up there. And hopefully I don't find myself in Kansas
yep,
soon
be
or Oz, one of the
pulled
two.
into the sky. Yeah,
Yeah,
Oz. There you go.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, well, hey, you have a good one, and
Yeah,
we
man.
will talk to you all next week.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.